Hey, Naturally Curly World. I'm Evelyn, the social media manager here at naturallycurly.com, and we are so excited to be here today. Happy Wednesday. We have a great panel lined up, and we are going to talk about one of the most polarizing topics in our community online, and that is hairstylists. Every time we post an article about hairstylists, the comments are lit, if you will, because, stylists and curly hair girls, naturalistas, have a bit of a tumultuous relationship. But we brought on this star panel of stylists we love and trust and follow on social media to talk about their experiences and how the salon naturalista relationship can be perfect. All right, so I'd like to introduce our panel. We have Anthony Dickey, the founder and creator of Hair Rules Salon and Products. Um, and so, hey, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
We have Felicia Leatherwood, celebrity stylist, to your faves like Jill Scott, Kim Coles, Will Smith. Thanks for being with us today.
Hi.
And we also have Ebony Bomani. She is a hairstylist, Instagrammer, your Woman Crush Wednesday probably. And we are so happy to have you with us here today.
Thank you.
So, all of y'all have been in the game in one way or another for years. So I want to hear from you. Anthony, we'll start with you. What are some common frustrations or salon horror stories that you've heard women have while they're sitting in your chair for the first time and nervous?
I think that they are the women or guests that come to the Hair Rule Salon, or that I've just heard and throughout the years, is that they are the victims of a very slow to move industry of old gatekeepers, I call them, hairdressers that learned a very narrow ideal of what beauty was, in terms of like the education that most stylists go to get. Whoever wants to, if you want to get a license to do hair, you've got to go to cosmetology school, and it's and the only mention of a texture other than straight is how to change say a curly texture. Then kinky's not even mentioned, and so how to change it chemically or thermally, and so it's kind of like American history void of African American history, and you can't even take it as an elective because it doesn't exist.
Right.
So those practices have through the years have caused a lot of pain and suffering to a lot of women, and so the industry, on great thing about the people spoke and formed an online community to say that our hair texture is not bad, independent of what manufacturers or hairstylists have told them over the years. So, unfortunately, the products came before the knowledge did, so they're still kind of all over the place in terms of how to apply the knowledge. Because there's great products everywhere, right? I love all products, and they're the best that they've ever been. But therein lies a problem, and their pain and suffering.
Mm-hmm. That's great insight, and I love that you brought in historically how the industry was started and how it's changed and how it needs to adapt to these new consumers and new customers. I really like that.
I think that there's a huge opportunity, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Felicia, I know you have an awesome workshop. You travel the world, loving your hair with natural care workshop. So can you tell us some of the horror stories or some of the bad experiences that you've heard people with natural hair and curly hair have?
Mostly what I get a lot lately are who follow vloggers that don't have their hair texture. So when the women come to me, if they followed a vlogger on YouTube, texture of hair, and they've tried the hairstyles or the products like the do-it-yourself DIYs, conditioners.
Yeah.
I'd say 8, 9 times out of 10, I've seen them really kind of mess their hair up because they didn't understand their hair texture.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, when I'm is a little delayed. But for me, what I do and what some of my colleagues, that also do hair, we tend to put out those fires. Um, and now what's going on is hair. Before it was, black hair, black hair. Now everybody's hair is so mixed, so many textures. So it's really about understanding the texture and what that. I can see, kinky texture type 4, and there'll be like 10 different types of kinky texture type 4.
Yeah.
So it's really important that when you follow the YouTube channels, that they look for women who have their hair texture, get as close as possible, because it requires something different if you're kinky versus curly. Sometimes you might need butter versus a cream, or more moisture or less oil. It's just that's what I tend to run into, is people who just kind of like, they may want tearing guys hair, but they may have hair that's more like Lupita, so they need to understand what that hair needs.
Right. And that's good. We're here to kind of bridge that gap. There seems to be, like Anthony said, people have been burned literally and figuratively by stylists who were uneducated. But then also finding your peers online may not always be the best option. So educated stylists in all the different textures like yourselves is key to really maintaining healthy hair. I want to go to Ebony now, because you do have that experience on social media and Instagram, and lots of people asking you questions, but you are a licensed cosmetologist. So what are some of the most common experiences you've heard people come to you with?
Well, for the most part, more recently, I've gotten more people to say that they've been to stylists that claim to specialize in our hair texture, and they really don't. Um, like Anthony was saying, they would try to correct their curl, meaning straighten it, and they don't really know how to do natural styles. Therefore, they don't necessarily know how to take care of their hair and be confident in what they have. So a lot of women, I find that they're giving up, saying, you know what, I really don't know what to do. I don't know how to take care of what I have. So you know what, I'm thinking about either becoming a straight natural or just going ahead and getting back into the relaxer because I just don't know what to do. Or, for the most part, though, it's been that they've been to stylists that claim to specialize, and they just want to correct their curl or, lack thereof.
Right. So when it comes to the education process for people, I don't think a lot of people even know what is required these days when it comes to cosmetology school. So Ebony, can you tell us a little bit about that and what that process is, how someone can claim to know much about natural hair but they really don't? Like, how is that possible? Ebony, you can start us off.
Well, I can say that I remember the mannequins that we had for, just practice. They were all straight hair mannequins, and then when they did get textured hair mannequins, they were more like loosely curled, hair. It wasn't something that they would really learn on. And then when they got to have clinicals and people would come in and get their hair done on a regular basis, nobody would want to even touch someone who had natural hair. They would all try to send to someone that was African American. Or they'd be like, hey, can we trade? I don't really want to do her hair. I don't really know how to do that. And it's like we have straight hair mannequins, so no one, at least some of the people that I went to school with, were even comfortable getting to know how to do it. So they teach you that hair, it applies to all hair.
Right.
So that's.
Anthony, do you have anything to add about cosmetology school and education, since you have a salon with other stylists?
Yeah, I mean, for here at the salon, we hire out of school. Because you can't teach an old dog new tricks. But what you can do is right out of school, you can get a new professional into your salon, and you can teach them from the beginning how to work with the finest of straightest of flat textures to the kinkiest of textures. And you can't actually get on the floor until you can work with all of them. And understand all of them, because as the responsibility as stylists is that we help women to not only learn their hair, but to embrace it and love it. And so how you talk with someone who doesn't know much about it and who has a bit of a dislike with their texture is, you have to come from a very loving place. You can't use the word curly if the woman has a 4 kinky texture and say, oh, we're going to get your hair curly. But you can do that, but you'll have to do this to it to get it that way. But more importantly, keeping in context with their hair texture and what you can do for it, and helping them to understand that they can, if understanding how to take care of your own natural texture is where the real versatility comes in, so that you can wear it however you choose. Because a lot of women are put in these boxes by the industry that you should, if you're natural, that you have to wear it natural. Well, I want to wear it straight. I don't want to go in the boardroom today with kinky hair. I want to go in the boardroom with my beautiful kinky hair that I love, that I can also wear straight. And how do I safely do that?
Right. Awesome. So Felicia, you have a workshop and you're a celebrity stylist. So what are the ways in which you teach newer people in the industry how to care for natural hair? How does that work in the cosmetology school business?
Is this for me?
Felicia, yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I went out. You said
yeah, so in your experience, how have
educate some of the women
in
Hollywood about their hair? Well, I get to take them amazing products, because they don't have, they're not shopping in Target. Viola Davis is not gonna be. She might be in Target, but 9 times out of 10, as a hairstylist, you want to present the best products possible, and you need to tell them why it's good. So I educate them about their scalp. I educate them on their hair and what it needs in terms of porosity. And then I give them a short list of things that can give them what their hair needs. But I have to keep in mind that their lifestyle is so busy, so I can't give them a regimen per se. It has to be a little different. The regimen is a little bit different. It needs to be straight to the point, and they need to be able to do it without it being like a hassle. Some people will do the lock method at night. Other people won't have time for that. So I have to study what their lifestyle looks like when I'm around and give them catered to that.
Awesome. So you talked about hair type, both Felicia and Anthony, you guys talked about hair type, whether it was porosity or, the curl pattern types. So we get a lot of comments about people's experiences with stylists who charge depending on your hair type. That's like one of our most frequently asked questions and concerns. So in your professional opinion, how does that work? Is it okay to charge by hair density or how much hair you have? What do you think about that? Anthony, we'll start with you.
I think that's personally, I think that that's a fraudulent hustle. I think I've worked in salons for the last 30 years and worked in white salons and black salons and the same services. The interesting thing about the great opportunity that there is here in the community of hair is that you have we can name all of the A-list white salons across the country and the chain salons, right? But if you don't know anything about people of color and their salons, it's a mom and pop industry. And so the interesting thing there is that if you can talk more about texture, in terms of how you receive women across the board who want, who you know, there's not a, where are there salons where there's a woman of color with the same purse as a white woman that can walk in and not have to dumb down, or go to the hood for her beauty experience, but can walk into a place where she feels like she's serviced, she's welcomed, her hair texture is welcomed. We all know that she's been side-eyed every place that she's gone her entire life, that either they couldn't really adhere to her to her suggestions about her hair and gave her something else based off of what they were able to do, or she couldn't go to this other salon because she was not willing to even share with them what her frustrations were about her hair. So she's been left in this place with not having great experiences, which were, when we talk about pain and suffering of women with a hair texture other than straight that have experienced that, like, it's our industry that did it. So for me, opening a salon was to really kind of level the playing field of the type of service and the type of experience that every woman, regardless of hair texture, should walk into a place, not be overcharged because of their hair texture or the thickness of their hair, because she's already been treated improperly over the years. So why continue that? And I don't think that, you know, when you talk about it with a woman with natural hair down to here versus a woman with straight hair and a bob up to here, why do you charge them differently? Because I'm charging the woman with straight hair who has a bob up to here. If she had long hair, I'm charging her the same amount of money that I would anyone else. So a haircut is a haircut depending on the stylist and their experience, but I'm not charging for length, for style. There's one flat haircut fee. and there's only two reasons to pick up scissors: to maintain the health of the hair and to maintain whatever style you choose as a guest, not me.
Right.
I can certainly make some suggestions, but if I trim your hair, I still maintained a style that we both agreed upon.
Awesome. That's what I like to hear. Felicia, do you have thoughts on that?
So of course my feet went out a little bit. So I know that I don't know the origin of the question, but I know, just to expound on what Anthony was saying, when I was traveling, I did have a lot of stylists over in Europe say to me, should well, actually they were charging more for kinkier hair than straight hair. And there was a bit of an argument at one point where the women were like, it's not fair, so we don't want to go to the salon, we could just do it ourselves. It's not fair that we can charge more. And I think that also is something carried out from during a time where we always still get the shorter end of the deal, like, and it's sad to see it play out with each other. Like, it's still about that. Like, you know, even everything going on in the world, it's like, okay, well, we're the underdogs, we get charged more, we get done differently, we get so I feel like in the natural hair community, for me, hair is hair. And my challenge is always, whatever I can do with straight hair, I should definitely be able to do with kinky curly hair. And I don't feel like if you get your hair done naturally, it should cost more, or go get a wax, it should cost more, but a lot of stylists do. I had a guy argue me down, a stylist telling me that it takes him longer. He has to put more into doing natural hair, that he doesn't have to with straight hair. And I said, well, that's your perspective.
Right.
How you look at it is what's causing the issue, not the actual job.
Right.
You know? And so he didn't get it because he had completely created a belief system that natural hair was difficult, you know. And I tell the women all the time, the main thing you want to do when you get a new hairstylist or you're looking for one is to do a consultation first. You definitely want to do a consultation and meet with the stylist and ask questions. Find out if they do natural hair. A lot of them say they will, and then you get there and they're like slapping stuff on your head that you don't even know they're doing. You know. So I've had clients come back to me after they've been gone for a while. They maybe moved away to another state trying to maintain natural hair, and the stylist actually behind their back put a relaxer on the hair.
In the
and called it
conditioner.
conditioner. Yeah, in the
Oh
conditioner.
no.
And they didn't even know, and I can smell it because you can smell relaxer.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they were like, yeah, my hair changed, but I couldn't figure out what it was and all this stuff. And so you really need to do a consultation. You know,
Mhm.
I think that with the naturalistas, they have to take matters in their own hands, not just by doing it themselves at home, but also doing the homework. Because you won't date a guy and just, go on what your friend said. You're gonna check him out. You're gonna talk to him and find out his mother's name.
Yes.
Parents still living and they together. All that stuff. So with a hairstylist, why not? It's your hair. Why not take a minute to say, okay, what are you using? What kind of products do you use?
Mhm.
How often do is this a salon that does natural hair strictly? Do you guys do straight hair? Okay, well, how do you trim? Things that are important to you. You want to ask those questions when you go to meet a stylist. And in that way, you can kind of gauge if the person's for you or if they're not.
Mhm. Awesome. So we had been talking a little bit. We mentioned the struggle between DIY and visiting a professional. So Ebony, since you are, on social media, YouTube, Instagram, but you are a cosmetologist, what, in your opinion, are some services that you think should only be done professionally? What would you suggest if someone with natural hair could only go to the salon once a year, twice a year? What are some things you think they should do with a professional?
Kind of lost you for a second.
Oh, and we're back. Yeah, so in your opinion, what do you think we should get done with a professional versus DIY? And Anthony, you can jump in while we wait
Okay.
for Anthony.
I don't think that DIY haircuts can be done on your own.
Okay.
Um, I think that takes a professional.
Mhm.
Um, I'm not. I give women information at the salon for them to take agency over their own hair, to be
Mhm.
able to get salon results at home, but to visit the salon when you need or want to. But when you come to Hair Rules, it's an interactive appointment. We find out, we go back to even your childhood. How long have you been natural? When was your last relaxer? How long did you wear those braids? And you get some. You get information so you can make a case, and so you can make a case to give information and do a lot of listening, so you can offer accurate information that coincides with their lifestyle, but that they again they can have agency over their own hair and achieve some of the looks that they and have manageable hair that they can work with from week to week, but they're taking care of their hair, so in the 3-month mark, their quarterly haircut, they know that they can come to the salon and get that done. And also bridging the gap between what they've seen on YouTube, which is a great place for information and different styles, but
Mhm.
how your hair texture might have to be prepped differently to achieve the girl who might have the same skin tone as you but have a
Mhm.
different hair texture. You can achieve the same look, but you're going to have to prep your hair differently, and then you'll start maybe your twist outs or something like that, if you have a four. But really, it's a give as much information so they can continue to go about their business and love their hair.
Right. I like that. So, visiting a stylist is all about that relationship and that
And information.
personalization and information. Yes.
Information and a safe haven, a place where they feel like they can come get their 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 uh, their monthly or their weekly or their quarterly, kind of gassed up, Their
Yeah. Yeah. Felicia, what do you think? What are some? I've watched your web series. Was it with Issa Rae, right? I love that web series. So, and you got to, talk to people in real time, see what their issues are with their natural hair. So, what do you suggest? What can people do DIY versus what do you think they should really go to a professional for?
Well, definitely, like Anthony said, cutting your hair, they try. And my clients, they come in here, they laugh. I go, okay, so when's the last time you had a trim? They go, well, I did it. And I look at them.
You got to
I
keep
give them that
asking.
look that that
You got to keep
look,
asking them, huh?
give them that look, you know,
Mhm.
and then they laugh because I'm like, okay, you're bringing this around here. What's going
Yeah.
on right in the middle? Like after you've gotten this for it, you can see this. What are you doing? What's going on? So
Yes.
they can't cut their own hair. And in color, I definitely say go to a professional when it comes to color.
I'm
Seriously,
guilty.
because
I
you
color my
can
own hair.
really,
I'm guilty.
yeah, you can kind of mess your hair up with color. There's some great box colors. The thing is with box color, if you don't know the condition of your strands and you use a box color and it's got bleach in it, but you don't really know how much bleach is in it, you
Right.
can really mess yourself up a bit, you know. So cutting and color is definitely my top 10 on the list of where you definitely need to go into the salon and get your hair done. Now, the DIYs, I completely encourage my clients to condition their hair, deep condition their hair,
Mhm.
style their hair, love on it, you know, try different products, test things out because they're making my job easier when they condition their hair. When they come in with their tresses moisturized,
Mhm.
my job is easier. You
Right.
know, and I don't have to get on them. I don't have to head case them and say, okay, listen, you know, because a lot of times what we do, Anthony and I and Ebony, like as stylists, we're not just stylists. We have to we have to be police officers sometimes. We have to police the hair. We have to be therapists, you know. We have to be, you almost have to reprimand a person, but with love
Right.
because you don't want to turn anybody off, you
Right.
know. But we can tell when people aren't doing what they're supposed to do. And there's key words. When you've been in this business for a while, there's key words where you know they didn't drink water, they didn't condition, they didn't, you know, they go,
Mhm.
yeah, I do it most of the time. Or for the most part, you know, yeah,
Right.
I try. Those are things that let us know you're not keeping a regimen, you're not keeping it up. So when we know that, because everybody's not a hair person, and that's okay. It's
Right.
okay if you say, hey, I don't do my own hair. That's why I need you. That's why we're here. And we'll
Yeah.
always have clients for, or you know, have space for those people. We'll always be working for the people who don't want to do a DIY.
Yeah. All right, Ebony, I see you're with us. Welcome back. So can you hear us, Ebony? All right. So, what's your take on DIY versus professional services? What is the one thing, if you have to choose one thing, that someone should really visit a professional for? What would that thing be?
I services.
Yeah, what service?
Cutting too, but
Cutting?
chemical services, definitely relaxers, perm, color, most definitely. Of course, cut too, but
Mhm.
especially chemical service.
Right. Okay, great. That's good to know. If you're handling chemicals, don't do it alone. And if you want to cut your hair, don't do it alone. So that brings us to our next topic, which is products. So I wanted to talk to you, Anthony, because you have a salon, but you also have products.
Hmm.
So could you tell us more about the idea of salon quality products and their benefits or what people should look for when they're trying new products?
I hear a lot of back and forth with women who want all natural products. Um, all natural doesn't work all the time because they also want performance. Um, for me, I don't. I just look at the products that I create. I also use a lot of other products because I'm as much of a product junkie as the next person.
Mm.
And I buy a product because of what the bottle looks like, what it says it was going to do, how it smells. I'm that person in the store that opens up stuff and smells it. So, um, but in terms of the products that we have here, they're more. It's more looking at the hair texture and
Mhm.
how the hair texture. And what's required by the hair texture, and then the products come afterwards. For me, it's about what's wrong with the hair, finding a solution for the hair, and these are the tools that you use to kind of go about taking care of your hair texture. But again, the knowledge has to come before the products. The great thing right now is that there's amazing products out there, but women don't have any education historically about their hair texture, and so you can, whether you're using a pudding or a whip or a cream or any of those great new additions of gels that are for many different textures and work wonderful, if you don't know what to do with your hair or how that gel applies to you, then you're kind of up the creek again, because what you do with that gel doesn't change. How you do a wash and go or a twist out is still done the way it's done. You can decide which one of those whips or creams or puddings you want to use, but the technique is not going to change. And so when women can find out how to go about, a lot of women are, still won't wet their hair or do a wash and go style that have gone natural because they wanted to leave an active lifestyle, go to the gym, sweat, and do all those things that, they've been held back from, and, they still won't wet their hair. So there's this disconnect between what do I do with my natural hair, how do I go from day to day, how do I work out, and how do I do all these different styles, which requires knowledge, not products. So it's more information first, and then the products and how they're used on you, and helping to make sense of a lot of what manufacturers who historically have not cared about those textures that are now coming out with products and naming them and taking advantage of a lot of the terms that the natural hair community created themselves in the most beautiful way, whether it's a wash and go, whether it's co-washing, whether it's sulfate free, like, okay, you washed your hair with a sulfate free shampoo. Well, sulfate free only applies to shampoos that have suds. It doesn't apply to a shampoo that's a cream that doesn't have suds.
Education.
So right, and co-washing is not a product. It's a conditioner. You do something. It's called co-washing in between your weekly shampoo or however you shampoo. And now you have brands that are coming up with products that are the terms in terms of what you use. And so, helping them make sense of that, bad marketing, tricky marketing.
Yes, tricky marketing. Felicia, what are your thoughts on choosing products? Are you a product junkie? Do you promote product junkiism?
I don't have a choice because everybody sends me things to try and kind of, give my feedback on. So yeah, I think if I wasn't a hairstylist, I would probably have like 4 things I use on my hair. Because I'm a shoe junkie, actually. But product-wise, there's so many. I mean, every day I'm finding out about 5 other products I never heard of. Right. I can't keep up with everything. I pick out my top 3 and I stick with those until I decide to try something else. Right. Yeah. And those top 3 products are for the 3 textures that I generally work with, which is wavy, curly, and kinky hair. And so, I've tried a lot. If you ever come here and look at my home, my garage, everywhere I work, you're gonna see like products galore. But at the end of the day, I'm always curious as to why women buy products. And I ask them, what is it that turns you on about the product? What are you looking for? You know what they mostly say? Fragrance. Yeah. The way it smells.
The smell.
I'm like, really? So you don't even care if it works? Yeah. And that's how you become a product junkie. You become a product junkie by having these priorities that are like, I'm looking out for the smell of it. And then you try it on your hair, and your hair hates it. And you're like, oh man, but it smells great. Right. So I think that women, I always tell them it's really good to, when you're working with conditioners, because people always get a little confused on what's the best conditioner, because that's when you're moisturizing. So I always say you want to divide your hair up into 4 sections when it's wet, and you want to try your 4 different conditioners because you're a product junkie, and you want to put one in one section, one in the other, another, and feel the hair. Feel the hair, feel what it's telling you. You'll know. You'll be able to compare it better that way because one may give you more moisture, more length. You know, you can detangle easier. So I always just tell the women to test the products out and don't always go by the fragrance.
Right. Okay, so we've talked about products, we've talked about when you should visit a stylist versus try to DIY and go it alone. But now we have some questions from our viewers. Let me find these questions. This is Hey Miss Kia from Instagram. She is a stylist who has curly hair customers but also straight hair customers, and she wants to know y'all's expert opinion on how to manage her time wisely because she knows that in her experience curly hair clients tend to need more consultation time.
Ooh.
So do you have any tips for this stylist on how they can properly manage their time and service as many curly hair clients as efficiently as possible? Anthony?
Yeah, everybody for me gets the same consultation.
Right.
You have to start people when they arrive. For me, if you're sitting on the couch in the waiting area, it means that you need to be in the chair. That's the only reason why anybody needs to sit in the waiting area.
Right.
And then your consultation, whether it's this woman with straight hair or a curly hair, is however long it needs to be. I mean, I average between 15 to 30 clients a day.
Okay.
And so it has to, everybody gets the same length of a consultation, however long it takes, because when you leave my chair, my assistant is enhancing that conversation at the shampoo bowl. When you come back to the chair, it's going to be a part of the conversation at the chair if you have any questions. So by the time you leave, you have a prescription pad and anything else that you need, but we're going to talk to you all through the appointment. So there's only, determining whether you want to depart with some straight ends or relaxed hair or whatever shape you want to get. It's not that serious, and one texture doesn't take any more time than the other. In terms of kinky, curly, wavy, and straight, I might have somebody with straight, thick hair that could take just as long as somebody with, say, a curly or wavy hair. It's just, it's a matter of the haircut, the style, or what you're wearing that has more to do with anything. And educating yourself as a stylist as much as possible, so you have a script, right? If you have a script, you're going to get some answers, you're going to ask some questions, and you're going to get some answers that are going to tell you a lot, so you can keep it rolling.
Got it. Felicia, I saw you wanted to mention something.
So, man, Anthony works hard. I'm coming out there to New York, Anthony. Come work at your salon. But so for me, I learned very early on that the way you set up your time is exactly what your clients will follow. I do consultations before taking any client. You can't even book an appointment with me without a 15 to 30-minute consultation first.
Right.
Usually they're about 15 minutes. It doesn't take me long. Like Anthony said, you have a script. I ask pertinent questions, and I look for the answers because they give me everything in that 15 minutes.
Right.
Now, once you know that, because I'm so specific with my time when I work on hair, I know how long it takes me to do each service. It's listed. It's online. My scheduling is online. Every service is there with the price and how long it takes, and I'm true to that. I don't run over. It's rare that I'll run over the time, and usually it'll be because another client was late and it pushed into that. But I'm so respectful of my clients that I'll call them and say, hey, I'm running a little behind, because they may want to go do something.
Right.
They might want to get a bite to eat. They're running from work or something, So I think for her, it would be really good for her to just schedule consultations first, and then she'll know what she's working with. She'll know how much time she has with her curly clients, and she'll know what to expect of herself, and they'll know what to expect when they come. And that will probably help her really cut down on being surprised and running over her time.
Right. Great answers. Ebony, we have a different question for you. Somebody wants to know, does hair need to be straightened, to be cut, or trimmed? That's a controversial question.
I'm sorry, I couldn't even hear the question.
Does hair need to be straightened in order to be cut or trimmed?
No, absolutely not. Be cut or trim the way you.
Would normally wear your hair? We lost Ebony again. Pick it up, Anthony.
It's texture specific. Depending on the texture of your hair, determines how you get a comb through it to be able to accurately cut the ends. You know, white women call them split ends. Black women call them fairy knots. And we were designed to make sure that your fairy knots or your split ends don't split down one healthy strand, whether it's a fine or thick strand, and split and turn into 2 or 3 weak strands. And so if I have somebody with kinky hair, I'm not going to try to, I mean, the same, just because it's kinky doesn't mean that each hair that makes up that kinky zigzag spiral doesn't deserve the same amount of respect as the one next to it. And so for me, we use conditioners and oils in a manner that we use, you kind of use a conditioning treatment and blow kinky hair out or curly that's tightly wound so that one, we can get a comb through it and we're not damaging it by tearing it or ripping it. And we can cut accurately and do what we need to do with the ends so, you know, she's got the same thickness from root to end. And then she'll go back and she'll get wet down with a curly style. But straightening isn't random. It's more with a golf ball size amount of leave-in conditioner, all of her favorite oils. We do a hair and a scalp ting treatment here with haircuts on kinkier or drier textures. Where we blow them into the hair as a conditioning treatment, just like you'd sit under the dryer with cap and a hood dryer, but you're using a different apparatus, one that detangles hair that's super soft after you've washed it with something that didn't strip it. So for me, it's, you know, and I may have the same, a different texture that stay curly and loose that I don't have to do that to because I can get a comb through it and accurately see what it's doing.
Right. So another question we had, and I'll ask this to Felicia, is, let me find this question. Oh, we were talking about products. Is there a tactful way of bringing your own products to a salon? Felicia?
Well, I welcome people to bring. I want to see what they're using. I tell them that in the consultation. Show me, take a picture of all the things you really do use, not all the stuff you bought. I tell them if they've had anything on their shelf past 8 if they've had anything on their shelf past 8 months, throw it out. It's a science project at that point. And so I want them to bring in their products so I can see how they roll, see how they use these. What are you using first? Now what are you using? Lots of times people are using too much stuff and they don't need all of that. I don't like the hair to be weighed down and heavy. You can get moisture in the hair and on the scalp without making it greasy or oily or, you know, where you're like messing up clothes and furniture. Like, there's a way.
And can I say something? I know Felicia and is Felicia, when she gives education, is a very nurturing person naturally, and that's how she comes across. And as stylists, we're servicing people. And so you don't make people feel bad about what you need from them, right, in order to service them. And making people feel bad about things that because historically, no one really has had conversations with them. And so I know what Felicia does is she makes women feel comfortable about themselves. I make you feel comfortable. Whatever you need to do to feel comfortable in a setting where somebody has created something nurturing for you is really the first thing as a professional, that you make women feel comfortable about themselves and take the burden of the blame off of them. And whatever they need to do, whatever you need to do.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Shame doesn't get anybody anywhere when you're trying to achieve healthy hair. Ebony, are you with us? Can you hear us?
A little bit.
A little bit? Okay. This question is for you since you did previously talk about stylists who might say that they're experienced with textured hair, but they're really not. What are some telltale signs when you walk into the salon, sit in the chair, and they're talking to you about your hair? How can we tell? What are some surefire ways we can tell that the stylist is not experienced in textured hair?
I'm sorry. I hate to ask you to repeat that, but it's going in and out.
Right. So, what are some ways that customers can test their stylist to see if they are experienced with textured hair?
Okay, I think or know if their stylist is experienced with textured hair.
Yes.
Okay. In the consultation, what are they trying to get you to do with your hair? Are they trying to get you to go as far away as possible?
Mm-hmm.
People are very uncomfortable with texture and they're going to want to straighten it to try to get you to relax it.
Right.
Or do anything, you know what I mean? Do anything that,
Right.
or, you know what I mean? I don't know if I'm explaining that correctly.
Yeah.
Or can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah. So basically, any stylist who doesn't want to work with your texture or figure out ways for you to rock your texture as is, just healthier, you should shy away from those sorts of stylists.
That's my goal, is to wear my hair natural styles and wear it as close to the natural. Definitely shy away from.
Mm-hmm. Oh, got it. All right, well, you're fading out. Felicia, do you have any advice about that? How can we tell when we all know, but how can we know?
Well, it's good. Besides, in the consultation process, it's really good if you ask them if they have pictures
Mm-hmm.
of styles they've done, because then you can see their creativity if it matches something that meets your lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Photos help you to know the efficiency of the hairstylist.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you know, you want to know what products they use on natural hair. If you see products that they're using and you know that that's some old school jam stuff,
Mm-hmm.
get out of there. Grab your purse and roll out of there. You know, because by now we know what to look for. There's so many blogs and so much information that you really do know what you want in a hairstylist. Go in there with questions. I tell people, bring me 5 questions you want to ask about natural hair. You
Mm-hmm.
will know by the response of the stylist if that person's for you.
Right.
And, you know, I have a thing about people keeping a messy station. I do not like,
Yeah.
walking into a salon and there's gel and cream and stuff all over their station and it's a mess. For me, that's a turn off.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're
Right.
doing straight hair, wavy hair, curly hair, if your station's a mess and you got scissors with hair on it, it's not sanitary and I don't want to be there.
Exactly. So Anthony, we have another question about where can new or aspiring stylists who want to specialize in natural hair, and since cosmetology schools don't oftentimes focus on textured hair, how can they get that education, that extra education?
Oh, well, funny you asked that. Well, Hair Rules has a foundation. It's the Hair Rules Foundation, and we accept fellowships. And we are working on not only within the next year, but also expanding salons around the country. But more importantly, finding out where you can go. A lot of your education comes out of school, right? Because most of what you learn in school is they're teaching you how to get your license and how to pass state board. So
Mm-hmm.
finding someone who you can, or a salon or someone that you can assist that can get your continued education is the best advice I can give out of school. We go to the surrounding schools like Empire Beauty and Innovata and do some training programs there with, kind of an extended education on what you learn in school so you can be more inclusive in all textures. So
Right.
go to hairrules.com, the Hair Rules Foundation, and we're asking for fellows.
Awesome. All right, so let's see if we have more questions. Okay, so we have some basic maintenance questions. These aren't necessarily salon related. So we have a grandfather who wants to know if you have any advice for kids as young as 2 years old. So I want to know what y'all's opinions are about using hair products on really young children. Felicia, you want to start?
Sure. I always say leave the hair alone under 2 years old, but I'm quite aware that children, their hair tends to dry out because they they're still developing and they sweat a lot in their sleep, and sweat oftentimes will dry the hair out because it's, you know, salt coming out of the body and those kind of things. And also they're sleeping on cotton and fabrics that take all the moisture out because they haven't quite developed like sebaceous glands yet, you know. So what you have to do, I think, for a child is try to, you know, cover the head. It's really good to start young girls early with satin caps. My friends do it, and their kids know when it's time to go to bed. They actually go reach for their cap and bring it to their mom to wrap their hair up. The other thing that I tend to get a lot of questions about is cradle cap on babies. You know, different scalp conditions. And so I've for years, Nature's Blessing has been a staple for young children and people with locks, dreadlocks that have scalp conditions. Nature's Blessing's been around forever. From I think it's out of Brooklyn. I mean, Anthony, you know about Nature's Blessings? It's been around forever.
I think so. They used to sell them on the in Harlem on the street.
On the street, that stuff works really well. And also, it's important that parents don't pull the edges of a child.
Right.
You know, I say under the age of 5, really.
Yeah, they're still pulling their hair out. They're just playing with their hair, and their hair.
Yeah, don't like all of that. Yeah. Okay. And then with the shampooing process, generally, children tend to get their hair shampooed when they take a bath, you know, and twist it up. You don't want to put heat on the hair. Some mothers actually take the blow dryer with just the diffuser and stretch the hair and do it that way. But I believe leave a child's hair alone. Don't snatch it up. Don't put it in all these. You know, I understand if your child has a lot of hair. Put it in a ponytail. But just at nighttime, take it out because children move around a lot and it just rips on their edges.
Yeah. Okay, so Anthony, someone wants to know if it's okay to use conditioner and rinse it out of their hair every single day. It's a general question, but what do you think? Yes?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, water cleans, water hydrates, and if your hair is naturally drier, it loves conditioner. So you can't harm your hair by over conditioning it. But you can't over condition hair that's naturally drier.
I get what you're saying.
It can't be done.
Got it. Okay, so I think that's it for the questions. I just want to give everybody a chance to tell us a couple things, where we can find you on the internet and in real life, and any encouraging words you have for any naturalistas and curly girls who are looking for a new stylist. So Ebony, did you hear that? She didn't hear. Felicia, do you want to tell us where we can find you on the internet and any last words?
You can find me. I tell people I'm Googleable. Hopefully they'll put me in Wikipedia for saying Googleable. But you can find me. I'm Loving Your Hair. Loving, Loving, Your Hair on Twitter and Instagram, my favorite place to be. And on Facebook, I have a fan page called Loving Your Hair with Natural Care. I know that's a lot. It's long, but you'll never forget it. Loving Your Hair with Natural Care. And then I'm just all over the place. I'm all over the world. You can email me Loving your hair, lovingyourhaircare@gmail.com.
Awesome. All right, Ebony, circling back to you. Now's your shot. Now's your chance. Woo, these. Okay.
Okay. Okay. I got you. I got you.
Oh, no, she's gone. No. Anthony?
Yeah, you can find me at Hair Rules, hairrules.com. You can find me at Hair Rules Salon in New York City. And you can follow us on Facebook. We are coming to a Hair Rules Salon is coming to a city near you, so look forward to that. Also, again, the Hair Rules Foundation is accepting fellows, and for the work that we do here at Hair Rules is certainly an extension of the education that's taught in school for hairstylists who want to be inclusive of every hair texture, and we show and teach women how to love and learn their hair.
Beautiful. Ebony, you're back with us. Round it out.
All right. Let's try this one more time. You can find me. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, you can find me on Instagram, E+6, or my salon page, Ebony Bomani Salon, on Instagram also. And I have a salon in Johns Creek. And I just hope that everyone stays encouraged, be positive, and love yourself.
Awesome. That's basically.
And I have one more thing.
Yes, Felicia.
I just want to thank you guys. Thank you, Naturally Curly, Ebony, and Anthony for inviting me to this. And I want to thank all the people who who made my detangler brush sell out in 1 year, which was awesome. So thank you guys so much. All the people tuning in, I really appreciate your support. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out with us. Thank you to our stylist.
Thank you, Naturally Curly.
Yes, and we will go through your comments and see if there's anything else we need to answer through Twitter, everything else. But I'm so glad that you all could be with us, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.